Have you ever just felt completely lost trying to figure out financial advice? I mean, one person tells you to pay off every single penny of debt you have. The next says you've got to use leverage to get rich. You hear diversify into index funds, and you have to pick individual stocks almost in the same breath. It's just this chaotic mess of conflicting advice, and honestly, it can leave you feeling totally paralyzed. But what if I told you that underneath all that noise, there's a set of core principles, unifying ideas that all the true legends of wealth follow, no matter what their specific strategy is? Well, today, we're going to cut right through all that confusion. We're going to synthesize the wisdom from some of the greatest financial minds and build a clear, simple roadmap to building wealth.
So let's just tackle the big question head on. Why is this all so darn confusing? Well, here's the thing. A lot of the advice you hear isn't actually wrong. It's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. It's like someone hands you a steering wheel, a tire, and an engine and says, go build a car. Yeah, each part is essential. But if you don't have the blueprint to see how they all connect, you're just left with a useless pile of parts. And that confusion, it leads to doing nothing. And doing nothing is the #1 enemy of building wealth.
And this slide, this perfectly captures what I call the labyrinth of wealth advice. Just look at this. On one hand, pay off all debt. That's about avoiding risk at all costs. On the other, use leverage. That's about taking calculated risks to get bigger returns. You've got diversify, which is a passive, own the whole market strategy, right next to pick individual stocks, which is a super active strategy trying to beat the market. You see? Any one of these could be a valid path, but when you hear them all at once, they create this maze that's almost designed to keep you stuck right where you are. Our job today is to find the common thread that can guide us right through it.
Okay, so to start untangling this whole mess, let's look at our very first clue. This one comes from Napoleon Hill's absolute classic, Think and Grow Rich. He argues that before you ever make a budget, before you ever buy a single stock, wealth begins right here, as a thought. It's all a mindset game. So this is our foundation, the powerful idea that your internal world, what you think and believe, literally creates your external financial reality.
Now let's completely switch gears and look at it from a different angle, this time from the millionaire next door. This quote right here is just incredibly powerful because it yanks the idea of wealth right down to earth. We're not talking about trust funds or old money. We're talking about behavior. This tells us that wealth is built, not just wished for. It's built through consistent, everyday habits and discipline. And the best part? Most people who get there started from scratch, just like you and me.
And for the final piece of our labyrinth, let's bring in the man himself, Warren Buffett. Now listen to this. This isn't about some grand mindset or your daily spending habits. This is pure, uncut strategy. Buffett's whole philosophy is to completely ignore the noise, ignore the market drama, ignore the economic forecasts, and instead focus with laser-like intensity on one thing: understanding the real underlying value of a business. So there you have it, our 3 pillars: mindset, behavior, and strategy. Now, let's start building with them.
Okay, so here's our game plan to bring some order to all this chaos. We're going to start at the very bottom, with the foundation, your mindset. Then we'll build a framework, a practical system right on top of that. After that, we'll get into the fun stuff, strategy, your actual approach. And finally, we'll tie it all together with the unifying principle that connects all of these legends. Let's do this.
First things first, the foundation, your mindset. This is everything. This is the why that drives every single financial decision you make. You know, you can have the best strategies and systems in the world, but if your deep down beliefs about money are working against you, you're just spinning your wheels. This is all about changing a vague, I wish I were rich, into a rock-solid decision.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at how Napoleon Hill takes that mindset shift and makes it real. He doesn't just say, hey, dream about being rich. No, he gives you 6 concrete tactical steps. Notice the words he uses: fix, determine, establish, create. This isn't some fuzzy, feel-good wish list. It's a process. It's a process for turning an idea in your head into a tangible plan that you write down and commit to every single day. This isn't magic. It's a way of programming your brain to focus and start solving the problem of how to get there.
So from that mindset of intense desire, we shift to a mindset of action. And this idea, the prodigious accumulator of wealth, or PA for short, from The Millionaire Next Door, just captures it perfectly. A PA is simply someone who is incredibly good at turning their income into actual lasting wealth. And the key thing to get here is that it's not your income that determines how wealthy you become. It's your habits.
And this right here, this just lays out the difference in black and white. It's not that PAs are smarter or got luckier. Nope, they're just more intentional.
They spend almost twice as much time every single month actively planning their finances. Meanwhile, the underaccumulators, or UAWs, they might be making a fantastic income, but they're burning through it on a high-consumption lifestyle. Pause, get it. Wealth isn't built by what you make, it's built by the systems you create for what you keep.
You see how this is all building on itself, right? A powerful mindset is the engine, but an engine sitting on the garage floor is useless. You need a transmission to get that power to the wheels, and that's exactly what your framework is. With the right mindset locked in, you need a practical system to make it happen. The how that connects your big goals to your everyday life.
But before we even build the system, we have to change the way we think about money itself. And this concept of life energy from the book Your Money or Your Life, honestly, it's a total game changer. It reframes money. It's not just dollars and cents anymore, it's minutes and hours of your one and only life. Think about it. That $100 thing you bought, it isn't just $100. If your real hourly wage is, say, $25, that's 4 hours of your precious, finite life that you traded for it. So you gotta ask yourself, was it worth it? That one question changes everything.
So how do you protect that priceless life energy? You build a system that runs itself. You put it on autopilot. This is Ramit Sethi's genius automated money flow. Your paycheck lands in your account, and before you can even think about it, boom, the system pays your future self first, automatically sending money to your investments. Then, boom, it pays your essential bills. And the best part, whatever is left over is yours to spend totally guilt-free on the stuff you actually love. It takes willpower completely out of the equation.
And here's the real point of all this. A good system frees up your brain power, your mental energy. Instead of wrestling with dozens of tiny, draining decisions every day, like, should I buy this $5 latte? You get to focus all that energy on the big wins. We're talking about the handful of decisions that will actually determine 90% of your financial success. Automating your investments, negotiating a higher salary, crushing high-interest debt. The system handles the important stuff on its own, so you can just go live your life.
All right, we've made it to the top of our pyramid. You've got your why, that's your mindset. You've got your how, that's your system. So now, what do you actually do with the money your system has so brilliantly set aside for you? This is the what of investing. And, as you're about to see, there's definitely more than one way to get to the top of the mountain.
So check this out. Here we have two absolute legends with philosophies that could not be more different. In one corner, you have Warren Buffett, the ultimate business analyst. To him, a stock isn't a ticker symbol. It's a tiny piece of a real company, and he wants to understand that company inside and out. In the other corner, you have Jim Simons, the code breaker. To him, a stock is just a data point in a massive, chaotic system. He couldn't care less what the company actually makes. He's hunting for hidden mathematical patterns. Both of them became billionaires, and that proves there is no single right way to do this. Let's dig into Buffett's secret sauce, the margin of safety. It's so beautifully simple. First, you do the hard work and figure out what a business is actually worth, its intrinsic value. Then you just wait. You wait until the market, in one of its classic fits of panic or fear, offers you that business at a massive discount. You're literally buying a dollar for 50 cents. That gap, that buffer, is your protection. It protects you from being wrong, from bad luck, from all the crazy things you can't predict. At its heart, it's all about managing risk. Now take that idea and just flip it completely on its head. That's the black box of Jim Simons. His quantitative trading completely ignores things like brand value or management teams. Instead, it's like using a superpowered microscope to scan billions of past trades, looking for tiny, microscopic patterns that tend to repeat themselves, even for just a fraction of a second. It's an approach built on pure math and probability, not on business school case studies. So how on earth can these two polar opposite strategies both work so incredibly well? Well, this idea of anti-fragility from Nassim Taleb gives us the perfect lens to understand it. So think about it. Something that's fragile, like a wine glass, breaks when you put it under stress. Something that's robust, like a brick, just resists the stress. But something that's anti-fragile, it actually gets stronger from stress and chaos. A perfect example is your muscles. Lifting heavy weights, a stressor, is what forces them to grow. Now think about our legends. Buffett's margin of safety is anti-fragile because a market crash, a huge stressor, doesn't hurt him. It helps him. It puts all the great companies he loves on a massive clearance sale. And Simon's system is anti-fragile because it literally feeds on market chaos. The more volatility and noise there is, the more data his algorithms have to find those hidden signals. They both figured out a way to not just survive disorder, but to actually profit from it.
Okay, so we've explored mindset, we've looked at systems, and we've seen these wildly different strategies. So what's the connection?
What ties a philosopher like Napoleon Hill to a value investor like Buffett and a codebreaker like Simons? I mean, despite all their differences, what are the common threads, the unifying principles that we can pull from all of these brilliant minds?
This is it. This isn't just a random list. This is the secret operating system that runs in the background for every single one of them. Let's run through it. First, they all play the long game. They think in decades, not days or weeks. Second, they find a way to remove emotion from their decisions. Whether it's Buffett's idea of Mr. Market being a crazy partner or Simon's cold, hard algorithms, they have a tool to stay rational when everyone else is freaking out. Third, they build a system and then follow it with insane discipline. Their success comes from the system, not from just feeling motivated one day. Fourth, they have a crystal clear definition of their goals, just like Napoleon Hill said. They know exactly what they're aiming for. Fifth, they understand and manage risk, but they do it on their own terms. They define the game they're willing to play. Sixth, they value their time, their life energy, as the most precious thing they have. And finally, number 7, and this is a big one, they know what enough means to them. The goal isn't just an endless pile of money, it's about achieving a very specific kind of freedom.
At the end of the day, the real path to wealth isn't about trying to perfectly copy Warren Buffett or anyone else. It's about taking these core unifying principles and using them to forge your own path. So I'll leave you with this one question to really think about. What is the one, single, non-negotiable rule that defines your financial system? Find that rule, build your system around it, and you will have found your own way out of the labyrinth.